Live coverage of the Irondequoit Town Board on ICAT Government Access. Next, live coverage of the Irondequoit Town Board on ICAT Government Access.
Good evening. Call the meeting to order. I promise we will, if you're here for the pre-meeting, pre-agenda items, we won't be here that long. Just do us the courtesy for the next 20 minutes. And we got a full house, which we love seeing. So I'm now going to call to order the October 15, 2019 meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Irondequoit. Visitors are invited to join me in rising to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Councilwoman Hush LeRae.
Here.
Councilman Perticone.
Here.
Councilwoman Romeo.
Here.
Councilman Weiner.
Here.
Supervisor Seeley.
Present.
Attorney for the town.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk, and good evening, everyone. It's nice to see a lot of familiar faces here tonight. We have a pretty, not to say modest agenda, but before our agenda, we have some special presentations, which we will commence after my brief remarks. I do note we have 2 public hearings relative to matters concerning our consolidated drainage district and consolidated sewer district. Those are public hearings we have to hold pursuant to state law regarding improvements we plan to make to both the drainage and sewer districts, or proposed improvements to both those districts. First, permit me a few remarks. Welcome to fall, everyone. Last Friday, we cut the ribbon on our new Irondequoit Department of Public Works facility. After facing a lot of adversity after the devastating Christmas Eve fire of 2016, I am confident we've emerged an even stronger organization. This new building will immediately make our operations more effective in serving the Irondequoit public. We're thankful to really all those who made this possible, including our construction crews, Commissioner Kiley, Councilman Perticone, very much involved, and as well as the men and women of our Department of Public Works, who really over the past 3 years have not had to work under ideal circumstances and have really not skipped a beat, so kudos to them. I will note on October 26th, that's a Saturday, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., we will have an open house at the new facility. We've done it in the past with the older facility. We always like to show off the vehicles, but I know a lot of people of the public have asked when they can come and check it out. Certainly, when we're up and running, it's a public facility, but we'll allow people to go inside the truck storage area, really see how big it is. It really turned out nicely, and as I say, it's the public's building, so we want to make sure they're able to see it and inspect it. Earlier this month, we commenced the annual deer management program. The bow hunt in Irondequoit since the late 1990s. This program, done in conjunction with the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, has served as an effective tool to manage Irondequoit's urban deer population, especially with regards to deer-related motor vehicle accidents. The IPD, the Irondequoit Police Department, does an excellent job in managing the program effectively. Only hunters who are authorized to participate in the program and who have passed a stringent proficiency test are eligible to take part, and we predominantly do it on private property, some town property, but the private property has to meet certain criteria pursuant to town code in order to allow for hunting. Over the past year, the town has been working with our neighbors in Brighton and Pittsford on a collaborative initiative that aims to provide our residents with a cheaper default energy supply and one that's 100% green. As we continue through this process, we're inviting residents to participate in 2 upcoming informational sessions. I'll note the town of Irondequoit has scheduled 2. None of the other towns have scheduled any, so hopefully they follow suit. We always like to be first in Irondequoit. These are co-hosted by our partners with Rocktricity and Joule Energy. They will take place this coming Thursday, October 17th at 6:30 at the I-Square Imaginarium on Bakers Park. And the next one will take place Thursday, November 14th at 6:30 right here in the Town Hall Broderick Meeting Room. Late last month, I had the pleasure of attending the Italian-American Law Enforcement Officers, also known as Italios, annual award dinner. It really was the Irondequoit Police Department, Irondequoit Police Community on display. Several members of our department and our police volunteers received awards. Congratulations to Chief Richard Chantillo on being awarded the Officer of the Year. Sergeant Jessica Franco for... I wouldn't dare tell you to hold your applause till the end now. So, Sergeant Jessica Franco for receiving a special recognition for community service. The wonderful Julie DiPaolo, a longtime member of the Irondequoit Police Volunteers, for receiving the Outstanding Service to the Community Award. Where is she? Also recognized were retired officers Aaron McCabe, retired Lieutenant Michael DiGiovanni, and also recognized was investigator Christopher Soprano, who I see right there. Give Christopher a round of applause, Investigator Soprano. Chief, that's like the warm-up act for your awards, just so you know, okay? Don't worry, Chief will outshine me. More solemn note, I'd like to thank all those who came to the town's annual Domestic Violence Candlelight Vigil. October's Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and our police department really does a terrific job in making sure we as a community recognize that. If you or someone you know is a victim of abuse, please call the 24-hour hotline 585-222-SAFE. This is a bipartisan public service announcement. For the first time ever, New York State has authorized early voting. It will begin Saturday, October 26th, and ends Sunday, November 3rd, and take place at several locations throughout Monroe County, including in Arundecoit, the former Fala's department store at Ridge Culver Plaza. The times are different every day. I encourage people that we've had a lot of calls actually to our office. I encourage you to go to www.monroecounty.gov. The Board of Elections has a schedule on this, so we've gotten calls, and we want to make sure if people do want to vote early, they have a right to know where that takes place. In recognition of Substance Abuse Prevention Month, Drug Free Arundecoit, Defy Together, is coordinating several upcoming events being held throughout October, which is recognized as Substance Abuse Prevention Month. This included working with our Defy Coalition, myself, Patrina Freeman, Dino Kay, and several others on the Hidden in Plain Sight display at last week's St. Paul Fire Department open house. The coalition will hold 2 opioid overdose prevention training sessions that effectively teach residents how to administer Narcan. At both sessions, attendees will receive their own Narcan kit. It's a very valuable training tool. So our staff and library have been through it. And as we continue to battle this opioid epidemic, it is a valuable resource for our community. The first session is Wednesday, October 16th from 7 to 8 p.m. at the St. Paul Fire Department on Cooper Road. Pizza will be provided. This is being co-sponsored by Arundecoit Rotary, so thank you, Rotary. Registration is required. Please call 210-3480 or email irotary67@gmail.com. There is a second training session October 24th from 6 to 7 at the public library. Registration is not required for that one. That is being jointly sponsored by the school districts. And on Saturday, October 26th, from noon to 2 p.m. in the IPD parking lot, we will have one of our seasonal drug take-back days. You can bring prescription drugs in, drop them off, not even get out of your car. You can do that throughout the year with the Arundecoit Police Department, but people like doing it on Saturdays, so we encourage residents to come this Saturday. And last but not least, as we do every month, we recognize a great member of our team with our Staff Spotlight Award. This month, we were happy to present it to Dolores D. Jeske, who is a member of our clerk's office, who deals primarily helping Barb with tax collection and other essential functions of the clerk's office. I know Barb could do it without her. Barb would not choose to do it without her, and Dee certainly helps make that office a very high functioning. So congratulations, Dee, and a job well done. With that, I'm going to ask my board members to join me at the podium. We're not going to do, Chief, we're going to do one recognition before the police, and then we'll get to yours, okay? Board members, to the podium. Well, I know the Rotarians are very civic-minded, and they take interest in town government. I know the fact that a lot of you are here tonight is for a special occasion. So now I'm just going to ask all of our Rotarians to join us up here. And, you know, we have a number of great civic groups in town. The Rotarians' motto or ideal is service above self. They certainly live up to that, doing a number of terrific initiatives throughout the year. They've been a partner in several really terrific town initiatives and really have had a broad impact, not just on our community, but throughout the greater Rochester community, but Rotary throughout the entire world. And I'd like to say we are here to honor all the Rotary tonight, and we are, but I think we were a little disingenuous with two of the members, because we are here tonight to pay special honor to two people in Rotary who for the past 35 years have helped organize one of the really routine, well-known fundraisers in Arundecoit. That would be the annual Rotary Pasta Dinner. So would you please join me in welcoming up to the podium, or next to me, Dominic and Marilyn Fantuzzo. I'm gonna yield my time to Terry, who brought this to my attention. But we want to make sure we're recognizing and validating the good work of our civic groups. But mainly we want to make sure that when our residents and members of our community do a sustained, selfless effort for this long of a time, that really, if you aggregate it, has had a tremendous impact on the community. The least we can do is make sure that the town formally recognizes those contributions. So I'm going to ask Terry to say a few words, and then I have a proclamation for you. But Terry Bassett-Court.
Thank you, Supervisor. Dominic and Marilyn, we would not be going on 35 years if it weren't for your leadership. You never miss a detail. You roll up your sleeves every single year, and the town has benefited the fruits of your labor through playgrounds and baseball score, playgrounds, baseball score boards, giving to the Arundecoit Community Cupboard, on and on and on. We didn't think a fruit basket or flowers were appropriate, so we decided on a proclamation in your honor. And thank you so much for your leadership and your love.
So just to permit me the opportunity to read this, and pay attention, because it's all nice things. Whereas a great community is only as great as those individuals and organizations that perform exemplary service on behalf of their community, and whereas attendant to such concern and in full accord with long-standing traditions, the town of Arundecoit is justly proud to acknowledge the contributions of such individuals and organizations, and whereas Arundecoit Rotary is a civic organization in the town of Arundecoit whose members are dedicated to the ideal of service above self and has been serving the community since 1967, and whereas for the past 35 years, Dominic and Marilyn Fantuzzo have helped organize the Rotary's annual pasta dinner, and whereas after the 2019 Rotary Pasta Dinner, they will, quote, pass the pasta spoon, end quote, after having organized the dinner since its inception, and whereas through their hard work, Dominic and Marilyn have been responsible for raising tens of thousands of dollars to support various local programs and projects throughout the Arundecoit community and beyond. Not included mention is the calories they have contributed to the community, but we'll let that pass. Now, let it be resolved that we, David A. Seeley, and Town Board, on behalf of the entire town of Arundecoit, do hereby thank Dominic and Marilyn Fantuzzo for their many years of service to the Arundecoit Rotary Club and the entire community at large. So declared on this day, the 15th of October, 2019. God bless you both. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Thanks to the town and to my Arundecoit Rotary family and to my real family. not to the Arundecoit Rotary family, it's my real family, our real family, but we've been members of this organization for over 52 years now. This 35 for the pasta dinner is just a small part of it. And my family, kids, and now grandkids,
are going to carry on the tradition.
and of course my wife. Without her, it wouldn't be possible. Without this phenomenal organization that we're surrounded by, it couldn't have been done. So it's like $500,000 worth of funds raised through this one effort. And as Dave has already mentioned, it's been shared all over, throughout the community, throughout the world. So thank you once again for the recognition. Appreciate it.
So I'm just gonna, we have one more round of presentations. I'm gonna ask Chief Tantillo. I now yield the podium, and Dominic. I know it's not worth a lot of money, but
I'm already overwhelmed, Dave.
Next to the other ones. Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I appreciate the opportunity. I once was a Rotarian, but the ticket quota was too high for the pasta dinner. If I can have Officer Kylie Nichols come forward, please, with her family. I was a little worried because you were on the road. I didn't see you for a while. I'm like, uh-oh. A little busy. Yeah. You can come a little closer. All right, okay. There we are. There's the important folks. Here we go. Tonight we have the great pleasure of presenting Officer Nichols with a what I consider to be a very special award. The Community Service Award is presented to an employee of the Irondequoit Police Department who has shown a commitment to the welfare of the community beyond the normal call of duty. He wants you to hold it. There you go. There you go. Hey. Good work. Matt, I know the feeling. All right. During her assignment as the Irondequoit Police Department's Community Service Officer, Officer Nichols demonstrated a strong sense of dedication and commitment to the department's community policing philosophy. Officer Nichols facilitated the department's school-based instruction programs, such as child safety lessons, drug and alcohol awareness, and the impaired driving recognition and reenactment program. Officer Nichols participated in community education and information efforts such as autism awareness for law enforcement, and Irondequoit was the second community in Monroe County to be designated as an autism-friendly community, and that has a lot to do with the exceptional work that Officer Nichols did. The FAIR program, which the American Legion is very familiar with, Neighborhood Watch, caregiver awareness regarding adolescent risk behaviors. Officer Nichols also enhanced the department's social media platform, which allowed the department to reach many more stakeholders in a very efficient amount of time. Officer Nichols decided to leave the Community Services Unit, and I was told it had nothing to do with her supervisor, which was me. But she had important things to take care of with the birth of her beautiful son. Upon her return to the road patrol, Officer Nichols continued her community service philosophy by participating in the Drug-Free Irondequoit Community Education Panel, acting as a trainer for the FAIR program so that it can continue and we can better serve our community, and being a participant in the Impaired Driver Reenactment program at local schools, which illustrates the dangers of impaired driving behaviors. Officer Nichols' continued commitment and dedication to the welfare of the community go beyond the normal call of duty and make her a worthy recipient of the Irondequoit Police Department Community Service Award. Congratulations.
Thank you all. I definitely want to thank Chief Tantillo. Thank you for the opportunity and to really take on this position. It's such a unique position within the Irondequoit Police Department. It really gives you a unique perspective on really everything that we deal with in talking with different stakeholders within the community, and now bringing that to the road, certainly it offers me a better opportunity to continue to serve our community as I continue to take calls and share that information with other officers as well. You see my husband and my son there. Certainly, I'd like to thank my husband, Matt, and my family, and my mom's in the audience as well. But, you know, this position took a lot of time on the books, but it also took a lot of time off the books as well. You know, and countless hours and planning events and making sure that things would run smoothly and making sure that lesson plans were done. And, you know, it was my responsibility that I took very seriously to make sure that those things were done as perfectly as I could get them, because ultimately that's information that's going to help people to not be victims of crimes. So thank you for your support in the hours that have gone into that. There's a ton of people that I could thank. Obviously, I'm going to keep it brief. But two groups that I do need to recognize are our crossing guard unit. I mean, coming to work every day, one of the responsibilities of the community engagement unit was our crossing guards. And coming into work and knowing that we were going to have posts covered and people were going to work extra hours to make sure that posts were covered throughout town and kids were going to get crossed safely, particularly in the rain and the snow and the heat. It was nice being able to come in and know that everybody was stepping up and doing their part, and I didn't have to worry about how that was going to get covered. And a large part of that also is due to our crossing guard coordinators, Mary Beth Egling and Doug Averill, who I worked with hand in hand, and they really assisted in making sure that that went fluidly. And also the Irondequoit Police Volunteers, who have their nice bright shirts on here. But they were instrumental in a lot of our event planning. Without them, I mean, it really would have been hard to pull off many of the events like National Night Out or Bike Rodeo that we had, because, I mean, they really helped in preparation for those, and then also facilitating those events, making sure that everything was running smoothly and different posts within those were covered. And Judy DePaula is the president of that, and she really was a huge help. So lastly, I just want to thank our community members. You know, we do this job as police officers, whether you're in the community engagement unit or on the road patrol or any position that you have within the police department, because we want to help people. We want to keep people safe. And, you know, there was a recent tragedy in the Rochester Police Department that really affected all of us, and a lot of the community steps up at that point to acknowledge police officers and to say thank you. But I can truly say that even without a tragedy happening in this community in Irondequoit, we have and we feel that support all the time, year-round. And, you know, we always are getting notes at the police department or thank yous, people coming up shaking our hand. So this is a great community. I'm happy to take everything that I've learned from the community engagement unit and now use it in the road patrol. So, you know, thank you to you all, because, I mean, you're the reason that we do what we do. You're the reason that we feel comfortable and, you know, enjoy coming to work and helping. So, thank you.
And just to illustrate the strong commitment that that Officer Nichols and her husband have, that her husband is a career firefighter at Rich Culver Fire Department. So they serve us in many ways. Officer Nichols was in the fire service for a period of time, but decided to come over to the better side of public safety. Elmer. Thank you. Did you get it, Mrs. Nichols? I can have him come back. It's all right. Our next award is what we call a Making a Difference Award, and I'd like to have Mr. Leo Pettix, who is an employee at the Rochester Transit Authority, come forward, and anyone else that he has with him as a guest. I know that the chairman of RTS, Mr. Carpenter, is here, if he'd like to join us, and his staff and his leadership team.
Rich, thanks.
you. Oh,
You
yeah.
can pronounce my last name. Hardly anybody does.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. I finally did something right in my career.
That's how I feel. Hey, thank you.
We got to remember, too, my brother was a bus operator.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Same.
You didn't know that?
I didn't.
I thought he was famous.
Infamous.
So he told me. But all kidding aside, we're here to honor Mr. Pettix and the exceptional work that he has done in our community. As I mentioned, he's a bus operator for RTS Access. And on August 12th of 2019, Mr. Pettix arrived at one of his customers' homes to take him for his daily dialysis appointment. The gentleman usually waits for Mr. Pettix in his garage so that he can be picked up. And on that particular day, Mr. Pettix noticed that the man's garage door was open, but the resident was not there waiting for the ride. Mr. Pettix waited a period of time for the gentleman to emerge, but that didn't happen. And instead of continuing on his route and fearing that something may be wrong, Mr. Pettix went with his instincts and approached the house to see if the gentleman was okay. Mr. Pettix went into the garage and could hear moaning coming from inside the home. He went into the location and found the man injured and on the floor, having fallen and struck his head. Mr. Pettix immediately called 911 and stayed to care for the gentleman until emergency services arrived. Mr. Pettix went above and beyond what is expected of him to check on and potentially, in this case, save the life of this individual and a stakeholder and customer of RTS. Had he not taken the time and acted on his concern for the gentleman, this incident may have had a very different ending. Mr. Pettix is a prime example of an individual who cares for those around him, and it is our pleasure and honor to present him with the Irondequoit Police Department Making a Difference Award.
Just want to say, I had the opportunity to do something good for somebody. It feels great, and I highly recommend it.
So we have one more, just if people don't mind just sticking around for 1 second. Shortly, Comptroller Seeley will give her final of what has been probably hundreds of financial reports for the town of Irondequoit. I don't think it's a secret that Annie Seeley has decided to break my heart and leave Town Hall with just one Seeley in operation. But she is, after many years of public service, both here, 9 years here, a number of years in the town of Gates, and also in the private sector, Annie is electing to think of herself for once and spend more time with her grandchildren. And I've known Annie for years. Her daughters were classmates of mine, and I didn't know Annie particularly well growing up. Hopefully when I saw her, I called her Mrs. Seeley, not Annie, when I was growing up. But it's a terrific family. We're very proud of her accomplishments. She has navigated this town through some very hard times. She took over right after as we were emerging from the Great Recession. And at that time, local governments were in pretty dire straits, and Annie's sound fiscal management really kept the books balanced and the town's fiscal situation sound. I will deeply miss our monthly meetings where she comes in and runs me through the financial report in a longer version of what she does for public, but the general gist is she tells me we're okay. That's how she always starts off, and I say, oh, another month, thank God. But Annie, why don't you come down here? I know this is diverting from routine, but at some point Annie's going to retire at the end of the month. We will recognize her as an organization then. I don't know if we have something scheduled yet. We probably do. I'm the last to know, but I figure she's been a cable access star for so long. It's only fitting that before all the people in attendance and for those tens of thousands watching at home, not watching the Yankee game, we just show her our adulation and recognize and thank her for her many years of service. So please join me in giving a round of applause for Annie Seeley.
I didn't expect this.
She's going to give 2 speeches tonight.
But I really appreciate it. My 9.5 years here have been wonderful. I really enjoyed serving the town that I live in. The jobs I had before were great jobs, but I really enjoyed being here. And it's a pleasure to see the town turn around. Like Dave said, when I first started, it wasn't as sound fiscally as it is now. And it was good to be a part of the turnaround. So I appreciate this.
God bless you.
All right, thank you.
Well, I'd like to say now we get on to the fun part of the meeting, but that was a pretty good half an hour. So thank everyone who's just here for that portion. If you are leaving, the sound does carry in. This is immediately followed by public input. So we ask, it's a nice, crisp evening outside. If you have to talk, try and talk outside, and so we can hear our public input. Thank you. Good enough. We'll give it another minute. We do have a public hearing that starts at 7:35. I will note, if you are signed up for public input, there's no one signed up for those public hearings. That doesn't mean nobody could come up and approach us, but we should be able to go back to public input relatively quickly once we start our public hearings. So I think we're good to go. We have 3 people signed up for public input. If you did not sign up but wish to address the board, you may do so after those 3 have come up to address the board. First to sign up is Lisa Deloise, 63 Spring Valley Drive.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for this opportunity. So I'm actually not here to complain about the unfortunate bow hunting incident that occurred across the street from my house last week, October 9th to be exact, on the tiny little 100 by 100 square foot piece of property that is right opposite my front yard and completely surrounded by public roads. I am here to request your consideration of a town code amendment, perhaps, regarding tree stands. So in the bow hunt rules, you have some minimal descriptions about how tree stands are supposed to be oriented with respect to where the hunter shoots from and relative to property borders, which may or may not be followed. But tree stands are erected so that the hunter can hunt during hunting season. I see no reason for tree stands to be allowed to be up all year round. So this happens across the street from my house. It's annoying to be reminded of the bow hunt season, which I'm not a real fan of, across the street from my house. So I guess the request is to consider adopting some sort of rules regarding tree stands that are in public view, or maybe I should say, put them up so they aren't in public view, and in small pieces of property where they are in public view to be taken down at the end of hunting season. There's no purpose for the tree stand to be up all year round. With that said, in cases where they are not taken down and they're up all summer long, year round, children in the neighborhood, they could be tempted to go up in that tree stand, and accidents can happen. So you might, if something like that did happen, obviously the liability would fall to the owner of that land. But I would argue that the town is culpable in some way because you don't have anything in our town code regarding tree stands being up all year round. So I would kindly request consideration of adopting some sort of town code regarding tree stands being put up when hunting season starts and be taken down when hunting season is over.
Thank you. We're always looking for ways to fine-tune the town code relative to the deer management, so happy to take a look at it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next signed up to speak is Cookie Stringfellow, 883 Whitlock. Did I say that right?
Yes. It's
Very-
an easy name.
What's that?
It's an easy name.
It's an awesome name. I wish I had a name like
I
that.
wanted to speak on the Rochester management, but it's not on the agenda. I was told it was on the agenda tonight.
It is not, there's no matter pertaining to that on the agenda tonight.
Is there one coming up?
To be determined. We don't know that yet. We're waiting some information back from County DOT and
I
then.
did have a question
Go ahead.
for them, but they're not here.
Okay. If you have.
I wanted you to ask them.
If you always have questions for us to ask, as I said at the end of the board meeting, when we close the hearing, we still do take input, and as, in the interim period between any possible action. So if there's a question that you want to ask, you can ask it to us, we can relay it to them, or you can call our office and we can submit it to them, but.
You want it now?
Of course. Go ahead.
What part of the Whitlock neighborhood does not want you there? What don't they understand about that? We're all furious about it. What don't they understand? We don't want them there. End of story.
Okay.
I'm furious.
And it's not just Whitlock, it's everywhere. I've been there since
It's all of the streets.
Okay, if you want to talk, ma'am, you can come to the podium as well, but, was that your question that you wanted us?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know if.
It includes the 4 streets.
Understood.
It includes Hulga. It includes the ones beyond Densmore. It includes Densmore. It includes many more around the neighborhood. We don't want them there.
Thank you.
It's going to ruin the neighborhood. Cutting all those trees down. I can't even get out of my street during rush hour because there's a big sign that says don't block the road. Nobody reads it. And you look at them like they're fools, but they want to get through that red light, so. That's it. I'm really, really annoyed. So,
So noted.
end. Thank you.
We have to get to the two public hearings pursuant to our town law, then we will resume with public input. Christopher, I don't think this will take long, unless someone wants to filibuster our consolidated sewer district hearing, they're welcome to. But, Madam Clerk, why don't you call up the first hearing?
Public hearing number 1 on the matter of consolidated drainage district improvements.
Motion.
Move.
And a second.
Second?
Okay, the hearing is, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing is now open. I'm first going to ask Commissioner Kiley just for a brief explanation. We will not take up the germane items for board action. We will revert to them once we start our board agenda. So we'll do both public hearings, close them both, and then we will reserve the right to act upon the germane resolutions. Go ahead, Bob.
Thank you, Supervisor Seeley. The public hearing which has just opened is with regard to the bonding of $500,000 in serial bonds to undertake storm sewer extensions on 2 local roadways. The first roadway, Catalpa, from St. Paul Boulevard west to Winona. This would see a new storm sewer installed on this road, new surface inlets on the roadway itself. That road, Catalpa, does not have a storm sewer system, and during storm events is subject to flooding and ponding of water, as stormwater runoff has no area to actually settle and infiltrate into the ground. The second, if there is funds available and once determined when we open bids, would be an extension on Hoover from Cooper to Gardham. From Gardham to List, there is a storm sewer located on Hoover at that location. However, from Gardham to Cooper, there is no storm sewer. So if funds allow, and really once we receive bids for this proposed projects, we would seek to have that storm sewer extension installed on Hoover.
Thank you. Any questions for the commissioner? And I know residents of these roads, this will be welcome news. I know Catalpa can get pretty bad, especially after the snow thaw. So we hold these public hearings pursuant to state law. Anytime we want to make an improvement to a consolidated sewer district, we have to hold a hearing to help us determine if that's in the town's best interest. Any members of the public, I didn't have any signed up, but if they wish to address the board on this matter? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to close the public hearing.
Moved.
In a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. That hearing is now closed. Madam Clerk, can we now move on to public hearing number 2 for this evening?
Public hearing number 2 on the matter of consolidated sewer district improvements.
Motion to open the hearing.
Moved.
In a second.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing is now open. Mr. Kiley, explanation, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This resolution is related to improvements throughout the sanitary sewer district. These would be replacement of defective, destroyed, decrepit lateral connections and mains. From time to time, the Department of Public Works has certain occurrences where laterals, where the home to the main, that pipe underground becomes destroyed or collapses, and the town will respond to that, removing the obstruction, replacing the cleanout to the main. And then there are certain times, of course, where the main itself collapses. So the project would move forward with various projects throughout town for lateral replacements and the installation of cleanouts.
Thank you. Any questions from the board for the commissioner? Hearing none, would any members of the public wish to come up and address the town board pursuant to this hearing? Seeing none, I'll take a motion to close the public hearing.
Moved.
And a second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The second public hearing is now closed. We can now reopen public hearing. We have one additional member of the public signed up, and certainly anyone still here wishes to address the board may. Christopher Burns, 90 Canary Drive.
Good evening, everyone. Mr. Supervisor, thanks for saying my name and address, since you've asked me in the past to open my remarks with that. Folks, I wanted to share some updates with you about the community's reaction to the proposed road diet lane road reduction plan being advanced by the New York State DOT for Empire Boulevard between Hallandale and Culver. So as of this morning, the results of our online petitions include just over 40 people in support of the road diet plan and just over 200 opposing the plan, a margin of about 5 to 1. This margin of majority opposition to the road diet, to the lane reduction plan, is pretty consistent with what we've been seeing all along based on the Facebook polls that I had posted to the Pardee Hill Neighborhood Association and the Irondequoit Facebook group. So the expression with respect to this plan is pretty consistent. You may also have noticed the recent news stories and the coverage we've gotten on the topic, including the WXXI news story from September 30th. The title of that story was "Plans to Reduce Lanes on Empire Boulevard Worry Some Irondequoit Residents." And then the Wham News / Fox News news story from October 2nd, "Some Want Brakes Pumped on Empire Boulevard Road Diet." I didn't come up with that title, but shortly after Labor Day, the New York State DOT did try to get out in front of the road diet topic with a news story on Channel 8 about their plans for Empire Boulevard. If you find the story on Channel 8's Facebook page and then read down through the public's comments, the Facebook community comments, you'll see that most of them are blisteringly negative about the project, which is actually pretty consistent with the tone of the comments that have followed not only the WXXI story, but the WHAM news stories as well as some of the recent discussions on the Irondequoit Facebook group, the Irondequoit Out and About Facebook group, and I'm going to share those printed comments with you so that you can review them at your leisure. So given the consistent community opposition to this project in terms of how it's unfolded, and especially the intended direction by the DOT, I'm reiterating my standing request to this board that you join me in calling upon the New York State DOT to reverse course on their current plans for Empire Boulevard and instead begin anew with a planning and design process that integrates rather than ignores the clear communication of community preferences and expressions that have happened so far. And that's been very vocal. It's not just a few people. At this point now, it's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of stakeholders, of residents, of community members who have really expressed, hey, this is not the right plan for our corridor, and we need to take another look at what's happening here and how best to deal with all of the needs that are represented within this corridor. I'm going to be sending a follow-up letter to the New York State DOT, once again requesting that they reconsider their current plans, providing them with the updated petitions, all the comments that have been posted on the Facebook groups, the news stories, so on and so forth, and really showing them once again how the community really opposes this project. Your active involvement on this topic is certainly appreciated and makes a big difference to the people of this town. Thanks for your attention and working with us on this, and have a great evening.
Thank you. Would anybody else wish to address the board? Okay. With that, I'm going to actually audible because we have two appointments tonight, and it's a general rule. I'm trying to make those appointments earlier in our items for board action, so don't roll your eyes at me. I'm going to jump around a little bit if that's okay, Barb. Can we go to item for board action number 3 under community development?
Item number 3, filling a zoning board of appeals vacancy.
Can I have a motion?
Moved.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you. Ms. Ivers, explanation, please.
Thank you, Supervisor. The resolution before you is to fill a vacancy that was left on on the Zoning Board of Appeals when Mike LaPerry, a longtime member, provided his resignation so he could spend more time with family and personal obligations. We're happy to advance our alternate member as a permanent placement. Charles E. Bickett has been serving as the alternate for the ZBA, and we are very pleased for her to participate as a full-time member. Her term would expire at the end of 2022.
Thank you, and I've known Charles for a number of years, and as happenstance would have it, was in her neighborhood talking to her the night of the August zoning board meeting, where she was excited because she was an alternate, but there was a person not attending, so she was attending, and that night we found out there was going to be a vacancy, so it's amazing how things fall into place, but she'll do a terrific job. She's very civic-minded, already a leader in the community. She serves as the head of a very successful, impactful not-for-profit, so very happy to recommend this appointment. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted. Chelsea, would you please stand up, wave to the crowd at home, and all right, we can now hop over to item for board action number 6. This is going to be a new policy. We'll do appointments before anything else.
All right. Item number 6, approving the appointment of a comptroller.
Motion. And a second. Thank you, Ms. Husser-Ray. In Mr. Vinette's absence, I will go through this. This resolution, I want to make very clear, does not take effect until later in the month. However, it is my pleasure to recommend for the board that we consider the appointment for a new town comptroller, and we consider the appointment of Diana Marsh. Okay. Where am I? Excuse me, 1 sec. Lost my, just trying to get the resolution up here. Diana, don't worry, I promise you it'll be smooth going from here. Oh, here it is.
Got it.
Thank you, I got it. Okay. Forgive me. So for many years, Diana Marsh has been, served as an accountant for the town of Arundequoit. She has worked side by side with Annie. When we posted the position, she was one of 2 whom we've interviewed. We interviewed 2 very qualified people, but having worked in this organization for a number of years and knowing how soundly our finances are managed and knowing that it's primarily under Annie's leadership, but also because she has a great team, Diana and Rick Checky, who's also here tonight. It was the recommendation of the interview committee, which included myself, John Perticone, and Jason Vinette, that the board take into consideration the adoption of a resolution to appoint Diana Marsh to serve as a comptroller for the town of Arundequoit until the end of the current term which Ms. Seeley was serving. Do you have any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The resolution is adopted. Ms. Marsh, please stand up and congratulations. And just a note, that resolution will take effect October 31st, 2019. Okay, we are back on track, and then I guess we can now start with our approval of minutes. Madam Clerk.
You want the financial?
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Financial report. I should know by now the financial report comes before the approval of minutes. All right, here it is, the swan song. Make it a good one.
Okay, I will.
All right.
The 2019 financial results as of September 30th. 75% of the year has elapsed, and the town's total expenses, actual as well as encumbered, of $25,898,000 are lower than budget at 71.4%. Actual expenses are $23,530,000, 64.9% of budget. Encumbrances are $2,368,000. Typically, encumbrances are still sizable at this time of the year, as departments continue to commit to services, supplies, and commodities that will be needed for the remainder of the year. The general fund total expenses of $14,777,000 are below budget at 69.2%. The actual expenditures total $13,853,000, and encumbrances are $924,000. Overall, the total expenses of the 3 highway funds are $4,498,000, 77% of budget, and that's just slightly above the 75% of the year that has elapsed. Actual expenditures are $3,668,000, 62.9% of budget, and encumbrances total $830,000. The costs continue to be driven by considerable expenses and encumbrances for gas, fuel, road salt, equipment parts, and road paving. The library expenditures have now leveled off with the budget at 73.9%. A year-to-date total of $1,907,000. expenses in the sewer fund of $2,827,000 are below budget at 69.3%. Actual expenditures, $2,732,000, encumbrances, $94,000. Stormwater drainage expenses are approximately 62.2% of budget, a total of $812,000. Actual expenditures total $366,000, and included in the $446,000 of encumbrances is a Vector truck purchase order. Again, this month, expenses excluding encumbrances for the town, as well as three major funds, are less than 75% of the year that has elapsed. The actual expenditures percentage exclusive of encumbrances for the town is 64.9%. The general fund is 64.9%. Sewer, 67%, and the collective highway funds, 62.8%. The general fund has received revenue of $15,539,000, 74% of budget. Real estate tax of $11,090,000 has been collected. 101% of payment in lieu of tax revenue, $222,000 is in. The town has recorded 5 months of sales tax in the amount of $1,791,000, 38.2% of budget. Per capita state aid of $613,000 is slated to be received in December. $360,000 of franchise cable TV revenue received in October will be reflected in next month's report. Mortgage tax for the first quarter of $249,000 has been received, 30.5% of budget. Recreation program fees of $296,000 are currently favorable to budget at 91.5%. Other sources of revenue are on par with the budget at 77%. Regarding the entire town, $28.1 million or 79.2% of revenue and appropriated fund balance has been received to date. Approximately $17.2 million is from real estate tax. At the end of September, the library had confirmed a revenue of $2,543,000. 77.9% or $4,422,000 of revenue has been received by the highway. 99.7% of the sewer fund is in, that's $4,031,000. Stormwater drainage has verified 72.5% of its budgeted revenue, $764,000. So page 3 of this report presents the third quarter year-to-date summary in comparison to the prior 6 years. As a reminder, the 2017 percentages are skewed by fire-related activity. Regarding expenditures by fund, which are shown on the top of the third page, the overall 71.4% of total budget spent and encumbered is only slightly higher than prior years. The middle third of the page contains the pertinent sources of revenue for the general fund. The bottom third of the page allows for revenue comparisons of the other funds, and the last line reflects the bottom line collective revenue and appropriated fund balance for the town. The 2019 general fund revenue reflects 74.1% of budget received to date, lagging slightly behind the prior years. This is primarily due to lesser amounts of one-time unbudgeted revenue and has less appropriated fund balance than prior years, so it's basically less upfront revenue. The 2019 per capita state aid of $613,000 has not been received, as I mentioned earlier, and that's different than all prior years where 100% had been received at this point in time. Also, roughly 50% of franchise cable TV revenue is usually received in September and included in this quarterly report. It was received this year in October. The revenue and appropriated fund balance for the town as a whole is 79.2%, lower than prior years for many of the same reasons that I described for the general fund. The highway fund has significant road paving reimbursements outstanding from New York State, CHIPS, multimodal grants, and intermunicipal projects. Stormwater drainage is less than prior years due to the cost of the new Vector truck and the offsetting grant award from the Department of Conservation. This concludes my financial report for the month of September, and this will probably be the last time I will use the word encumbrance.
You made it a good one, Annie. Just a few things. I've reached out to the state comptroller's office regarding the AMAID. I was told preliminary, it's more of an accounting thing on their end since AMAID is now tied to sales tax. But I just wanted some level of assurance that that money would be received since it is appropriated in the state budget. So it's just,
It will be in December, and that will be the new schedule.
Gotcha. Thank you.
And you can thank Diana.
Very good. So I don't have to make that call anymore. The other thing too is if you go to page 3, I'm always looking at the trending of year to year, but I think some of the reasons Annie mentioned it, the stormwater drainage district is higher because of that purchase. But also Seabreeze Water is also a little higher this year. They've spent some of the reserve funds, so that's factored in. Is that factored into the bottom line number, that percentage of the total?
Yes.
I'm asking her questions because I don't want her to go out easy, but okay, I just wanted to point that out. While the revenues, the expenditures are a little high relative to last year. If you look at general fund, we're actually lower and kind of on the norm. So, as Annie said, we're still okay. And we've been okay, Annie, for 9 years for you, so thank you very much. And I will now take a very important motion to accept the financial report.
Move.
And a second.
Second.
Questions, comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The financial report is accepted. Madam Clerk.
Approval of minutes. September 10th, 2019, the workshop minutes.
Motion.
Moved.
And a second.
Second.
Questions, comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
One abstention?
One abstention. Ms. Husseray, the minutes are approved.
September 17th, 2019, the regular town board meeting.
Motion.
Moved.
And a second.
Second.
Questions, comments, revisions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstain?
One abstention?
One abstention. Ms. Husseray, the minutes are approved.
September 25, 2019, the special town board meeting.
Motion
Moved.
and a second.
Second.
Thank you. Questions, comments, revisions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Abstain.
Mr. Wayner abstains. The minutes are approved. Madam Clerk, we can now move on to 10PH1-A. Thank you.
Resolution of the Town Board of the Town of Arundequoit, Monroe County, New York, pursuant to Section 202-B of the Town Law, determining that it is in the public interest to undertake certain improvements to the town's consolidated drainage district.
Motion
Moved.
and a second.
Second.
Commissioner Kiley, an explanation, please?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This resolution would authorize the sale of $500,000 in bonds for the projects discussed during the public hearing. This would be the storm extension on Catalpa, and as funds allow, the storm extension on the portion of Hoover that does not have storm sewers.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The resolution is adopted.
Item 10PH1B, bond resolution of the Town Board of the Town of Arundequoit, Monroe County, New York, authorizing the issuance of up to $500,000 in serial bonds of the town to undertake certain improvements to the town's consolidated drainage district.
Motion
Moved.
and a second.
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner Kiley, explanation, please?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I believe I just gave the wrong, if this is the storm sewer, then my prior input there was incorrect. Let me just...
That previous resolution, this title is pretty self-explanatory, so why don't you just carry on with a briefer explanation? I'll just ask a question on this one, Bob. We did seeker for this last month, correct?
As part of our capital improvement plan, we review all of the state environmental quality reviews for all projects, yes.
Okay, so this is the finance side of our capital improvement projects. Some we pay cash capital, other we pay through the issuance of bonds. This would authorize the issuance of up to $500,000 in serial bonds to make the improvements in the consolidated drainage district.
Correct. So this is the projects on Catalpa and Hoover. The prior resolution, my apologies, was for the various improvements throughout the consolidated sewer district. That would be the sanitary sewer for the cleanouts and lateral and main replacements.
Okay.
Just wanted to clarify that.
Gotcha. Okay, so any questions or comments for the commissioner? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The resolution is adopted.
Okay. Item 10PH2A, resolution of the Town Board of the Town of Arundequoit, Monroe County, New York, pursuant to Section 202-B of the town law, determining that it is in the public interest to undertake certain improvements to the town's consolidated sewer district.
Motion.
Moved.
And a second.
Second.
Mr. Kiley, explanation about this resolution?
Yes, thank you Supervisor Seeley. This resolution authorizes the issuance of bonds for the consolidated sewer district. This would be the improvements to laterals and mains.
This is 10PH2A. This is the determining it's in the public's interest to. Is this the bond resolution, or is this the declaring it in the public interest? I just want to make sure we're.
That's the public interest.
Yeah, so this is the resolution declaring it to be in the public interest. It'll be followed by the bond resolution.
My apologies, thank you.
It's okay. So, pretty straightforward again. As required by state law, the public hearing was held. We received no public input on this particular matter, and therefore it's our recommendation that we do declare it is in the public's interest to undertake certain improvements to the town's consolidated sewer district, which Mr. Kiley explained in further detail during the public hearing. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item 10PH2B, bond resolution of the Town Board of the Town of Arundequoit, Monroe County, New York, authorizing the issuance of up to $250,000 in serial bonds of the town to undertake certain improvements to the town's consolidated sewer district.
A motion
Moved.
and a second.
Second.
Thank you. As was explained in the explanation, the town has, in the previous resolution, determined it is in the best interest to make certain improvements to the consolidated sewer district. That's subsequent to a public hearing that was held earlier tonight at the September 25th, 2019 Town Board meeting. In reviewing its capital improvement plan, the board did conduct a seeker and determined the project constitutes a Type 2 action under seeker. And as such, this resolution would authorize the issuance of $250,000 in serial bonds to allow for the town to undertake certain improvements to the consolidated sewer district. Any questions or comments? Yes.
If I could just interject, pursuant to your question to Commissioner Kiley regarding seeker, a Type 2 means that it's actually exempt from review under the State Environmental Quality Review Act. So just to confirm that these are both Type 2 actions.
Understood. Thank you. Questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item number 4, authorizing community development staff to defend the Town of Arundequoit in a proceeding.
Table this for further action later.
Item number 5, scheduling a public hearing pertaining to amending the Arundequoit 2019 Community Development Block Grant Program.
Motion.
Moved.
And a second.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Kiley, and then Ms. Seeley, if you have anything to add.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Earlier this year, the town of Arundecoid moved forward with the Community Development Block Group grant. We had allocated funds available for roadway resurfacing projects and roadway infrastructure projects. After that resolution, prior to that resolution being passed, the CDBG areas changed unbeknownst to the town, and as such, this resolution would call for a public hearing to reallocate funds to a new CDBG block area for roadway resurfacing projects. This would be the San Marie, San Doris, Marco Lane neighborhood. We seek to, in addition to resurfacing that entire neighborhood, also move forward with improvements to and replacement of the concrete gutters in that neighborhood and concrete sidewalks.
Thanks, Bob. And this will call a public hearing November 19th, 2019 at 7:35 p.m. For this proposed amendment to the 2019 CDBG program. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item number 7, awarding contract for towing services.
Motion.
Move.
And a second.
Second.
Thank you. Chief, explanation, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. The resolution before you is to award our towing contract, which is due to expire this year. Per regulations and town code, a request for proposals was sent out in August of 2019. And subsequently, we received one response in regards to that RFP request. That was by our current vendor, Cristo Towing and Impound. Cristo Towing has long been our service provider in regards to this proposal. We highly recommend them based upon the exceptional response time that they offer us to clear our roadways and keep traffic moving safely through our community. They have a very good customer service record associated with it, and we have no quality control issues with this particular vendor. They've always been responsible, timely, and professional in their response. They are locally operated, and we have the ability to interact with them on a daily basis to help serve those individuals that are in need of that service, or if there's any issues with any vehicles that have been towed.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item number 8, bond resolution of the Town Board of the Town of Arundecoid, Monroe County, New York, authorizing the acquisition of machinery and apparatus for construction and maintenance, stating the maximum estimated cost thereof is $1 million, and authorizing the issuance of up to $1 million in serial bonds of the town to finance said appropriation.
Motion.
Moved.
And a second.
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner Kiley, explanation, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Within the capital improvement program, we listed out the project to purchase various equipment. We seek to purchase a new tractor, a new lowboy, 2 new dump trucks, and a new front-end loader. As such, this resolution is the bond resolution authorizing the sale of the bond. The bond sale would be after all of the appropriate notification, estoppel notices and periods end near December 6th. And this would allow, again, $1 million to be sold for the purchase of the equipment stated.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on the resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The resolution is adopted.
Item number 9, bond resolution of the Town Board of the Town of Arundecoid, Monroe County, New York, authorizing the reconstruction of existing sidewalks throughout the town, stating the maximum estimated cost thereof is $250,000, and authorizing the issuance of up to $250,000 in serial bonds.
Motion.
Moved.
And a second.
Second.
Commissioner Kiley, explanation, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This bond resolution would authorize the sale of bonds for the purpose of reconstructing various sidewalks throughout town. The maximum authorized issuance would be $250,000. This bond would allow the Department of Public Works to proceed and replace and repair the various sidewalks throughout town and ADA accessible ramps throughout town.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item number 10, bond resolution of the Town Board of the Town of Arundequoit, Monroe County, New York, authorizing the reconstruction and repaving of roads throughout the town, stating the maximum estimated cost thereof is $400,000 and authorizing the issuance of up to $400,000 in serial bonds of the town to finance said appropriation.
Motion.
Moved.
And a second. Commissioner Kylie, explanation, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This resolution would authorize the sale of bonds in the total of $400,000 for the purpose of resurfacing roadways throughout the town. Over the past several years, the Department of Public Works has worked very tirelessly resurfacing various roadways throughout town, putting a record number of tons of asphalt down on local roadways. And as such, we seek to continue that great progress by increasing the CIP to the tune of $400,000 to put more asphalt down on local roadways.
Thanks, Bob. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The resolution is adopted.
Item number 11, bond resolution of the Town Board of the Town of Arundequoit, Monroe County, New York, authorizing the reconstruction and stabilization of Pine Grove Avenue in the town, stating the maximum estimated cost thereof is $175,000 and authorizing the issuance of up to $175,000 in serial bonds of the town to finance said appropriation.
Motion.
Move.
And a second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Wayner. Mr. Kylie, explanation, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This resolution would authorize the sale of bonds to the tune of $175,000 to secure a portion of Pine Grove Avenue. Over the past several years, we've noticed a section of Pine Grove right near the bend towards Oak Ridge as you head eastbound on Pine Grove that is beginning to slough down the embankment. As such, this project would allow us to secure that section of Pine Grove, ensuring that the road platform is safe and will not slough.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted. I just want to thank Ms. Seeley, Mr. Kiley, and Ms. Seeley's staff. Just the CIP is a lengthy process, and this was, I think, the final evening of a sequence of resolutions, so I'm glad we're lining this up in the manner that we should, and this coincides with our December borrowing. So good investments being made in the most efficient way for the town, so well done, everyone.
Item number 12, authorizing the supervisor to enter into an intermunicipal agreement with the Stormwater Coalition of Monroe County.
Motion.
Moved.
And a second.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Kiley, explanation, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This resolution authorizes the town to participate in an intermunicipal agreement with Monroe County and the Stormwater Coalition of Monroe County. The Stormwater Coalition of Monroe County is a collaboration between all of the municipalities here locally in Monroe County as we seek permit compliance towards New York State DEC's permits and really moving the town forward with stormwater compliance as a whole. The resolution, the town has been in the Stormwater Coalition since its inception, and I'd recommend that we continue to participate.
Splendid. Any questions or comments for the commissioner? Hearing none, if you are in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is adopted. Madam Clerk.
Item number 13, regarding updating Arundequoit cemetery fees.
Motion.
Moved.
And a second.
Second.
Mr. Kiley, your last resolution for the night, knock on wood.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This resolution updates the fee schedule for the Arundequoit Cemetery. The Arundequoit Cemetery seeks to open up a new plot for in-ground cremains. The fee for the plot would be $1,100, and the opening plot fee would be $350.
Very nice. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted. Moving on to recreation. Madam Clerk.
Item number 14, authorizing the 2020 special events calendar.
Motion.
Moved.
And a second.
Second.
Director Hall, explanation, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This resolution not only brings forward the 2020 special events calendar, but it also gives us the authorization to schedule the parades for Memorial Day and July 4th, as well as negotiate and enter into agreements needed for these special events.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Mr. Wayner, any jokes?
Glad to see the 4th is on July, and July 4th is on the 4th again.
Very nice. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is adopted.
Item number 15, authorizing the supervisor to renew an intermunicipal agreement with Ridge Culver Fire Department.
Motion.
Moved.
And a second.
Second.
Ms. Hall, explanation, please?
Yes, thank you. This resolution brings forward the renewal of the IMA between Ridge Culver Fire Department and the town. Ridge Culver provides safety patrol for multiple events at the town, and in return, they are guaranteed time at our McAvoy Park location.
Very nice. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The resolution is adopted.
Item number 16, accepting the proposal for a policies and procedures operations plan for the future community center and authorizing the necessary budget transfer.
Motion.
Moved.
And a second.
Second.
Ms. Hall, explanation, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. An RFP was prepared and distributed with the focus of building on our 2018 feasibility study that the town conducted with regards to a future community center. The main focus of this RFP was to assist the town with the development of policies and procedures, as well as a thorough operations plan for a future community center. Ballard King responded with a proposal and cost of $12,500. The proposal was very detailed and personalized and includes their vast experience in the field of recreation policies and operations. Their RFP includes a mixture of on-site work with our recreation staff as well as continued remote communication to ensure successful and personalized plans are provided. Work with Ballard King would commence immediately upon town board approval and continue until the scope of this project is complete.
Thank you, and thank you for your work on this, Katrina. And I think this is an important next step we're taking. We did our due diligence in doing the feasibility study that kind of underscored and concluded we could operate a community center, and this is really putting some more meat on the bone. And as we construct next year, concurrently, we will come up with a really concrete operational plan and really determine what it will take to open that up, how we can incorporate existing resources, and as we kind of metamorphosize our organizational chart in the Department of Recreation. This would not add any new funds to the 2019 budget. It would use contingency dollars as well as some contracted services dollars from Recreation. So no addition to the bottom line on the expenditure side for 2019. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item number 17, approving a resident member appointment to the Deer Management Program Board.
Motion.
Moved.
In a second.
Second.
Thank you. One of the amendments we made to Town Code in 2017 when we redrafted our Deer Management Program was to create a Deer Management Program Board made up of an appointee, a representative of myself, a representative of the Conservation Board, as well as a resident. It's, again, my pleasure to recommend Marcy Tiberio to serve as the resident member of the board. She has served since last year. This would reappoint her for a term of 1 year, ending approximately 1 year from today. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is adopted.
Item number 18, approving the special event license for the Run Like Bill, which was formerly the Run Like Hell Run.
Madam Clerk.
Wow.
Thank you. This would, as Clerk Janier said, would authorize a special event license for the run, which takes place in the Laurelton neighborhood and will take place on Saturday, October 26th from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. It is one of the more festive races that we have each year, as most of the runners are dressed in Halloween costumes and as such not very competitive. Any questions or comments?
Will you be running, Supervisor?
No, see, my goal is to run in next year. Every race we approve, I'm running in. We're going to actually have that in the resolution, the special event license. Are we allowed to do that? No? Okay.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay. Either way, I'm going to do it.
Going along.
Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted. Now pursuant to Public Officers Law, Section 105, which governs open meetings in the great state of New York, I move that we enter into executive session to discuss current litigation. A motion?
Moved.
And a second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are now in executive session. Oh, forgive me.
Item
From Miss- It's okay. Okay, Madam Clerk, we'll take up item for board action
number 4.
Yes, please, thank you.
Authorizing community development staff to defend the town of Arundequoit in a proceeding.
Motion?
Moved.
And a second?
Second.
Questions, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The resolution is adopted. This concludes our agenda for the evening. Our next workshop meeting is Tuesday, November 12th, 2019 at 4 p.m. Next regular town board meeting is Tuesday, November 19th, 2019 at 7 p.m. I will now take a motion to adjourn.
Moved.
And a second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed this presentation of the Arundequoit Town Board on ICAT, Government Access. We hope you enjoyed this presentation of the Arundequoit Town Board on ICAT, Government Access.